Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Baseline with Colton Turner. And that is going to be the official closing of the U.S. Open first round. And so, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over a little bit of what we saw and what we expect going forward in the U.S. Open. Well, so we've had 6 seeds on the women's side and 7 seeds fall on the men's side. Now, to start with the women's, Danielle Collins. She goes out in the first round to Caroline Dolehide, putting up a pretty good fight with it, but, we never really saw any explosives of emotions that we usually like to see from Danielle Collins. I don't know if that's putting in the factor of playing a fellow American, so you want to, and a friend, so you kind of want to show a little bit more gratitude, or I would say, I don't know, be more like respectful to your opponent. There are other ways of saying what I'm trying to say, but you get what I mean. That we don't know if that played into a factor with it, but she is not out in the U.S. Open. She is still in the women's doubles to play. So her journey at this Grand Slam isn't over. So we see Caroline Garcia falling in the first round. With the next that we go is Yelena Ostapenko falling against a very in form Naomi Osaka, blasting out of the gates, really blowing Ostapenko off, going power for power with it, and she's looking really good, and wouldn't be a surprise, having seen her first round match, that she would get pretty deep into the tournament. Next, we have Leylah Fernandez, sadly going out in a tough 3-setter match. One of my picks to go far, but it just wasn't meant to be. Next is Maria Sakkari. She cannot get past these early Grand Slam loss woes, pulling out after losing the first set with an injury. But what's going to be the secret for her to be able to go deep into these Grand Slams and actually find results with it? Because something's going on that she's needing to figure out. I know this is an injury that you really can't avoid or really help, but in the grand scheme of things, when are we going to see a informed Sakkari playing at these Grand Slam events rather than just the regular tour level tournaments? And then lastly, to round off with the women's seeds going out is Diana Yastremska. Now we go to the men's seeds that went out. My apologies for speaking badly. Jerry, 26 seed, goes out. Tsitsipas, against Kokkinakis. That was a really fun match to have watched. Really, Kokkinakis was performing really well, beating Tsitsipas in a 4-set match, 7-6, 4-6, 6-3, 7-5. So that was a fight to have witnessed. Felix Auger-Aliassime falls in really underperforming fashion in 3 sets against his opponent. Not what we wanted to see from him in this tournament, but hey, that's how the dice falls. Has to regroup and reset with that. The 22 seed Tabilo goes out to David Goffin. It is nice to see Goffin get a pretty good win against a pretty well-performing Tabilo for this year. Has had really good results, but Goffin digging deep and pulling out that win, facing Adrian Manarino in the next round with that. Karen Khachanov, he goes out, the 23 seed. Next, the 27 seed Bublik goes out he can be either on or either off. And today was just not his day, really pulling out just stuff that you would never really see in a regular match. He was at the 5th set that he decided to do an underarm serve, just pulling that out facing break point. I think it was like at 4-all or something. Yeah, you're never going to see that besides him. I don't know, maybe with like a Nick Kyrgios. But I don't know if even Nick Kyrgios would do that. But really trying to be interesting with those types of matches, but he does end up losing that match in the end. Lastly, with our men's seed falling is our number 15, Rune. Really not performing well with it, but has to regroup, figure out what's going on, so he can be ready for that Australian Open. Now, for our favorites of the tournament, Iga Swiatek. She faced a little bit of trouble with her opponent Rakhimova, going up 4-0 in that first set, but Rakhimova was able to pull out a few games in a row, but inevitably losing it 4-6 in that first. Well, we see in the second set, they go to a tiebreaker, and Rakhimova has several set points on her racket, but just could not pull it through, giving Iga really 4 bad forehands to relinquish the match to Iga. Iga being very emotional with how she was playing in that match, not happy at all with how she was playing. So we have to see how she's going to be performing in this next match, where her mindset is at, to see if she can really pull off a good run, possibly winning the title with it. So, Sabalenka, our clear favorite of the tournament to win this title, goes out pretty strongly, or pretty decent, against her opponent, winning 6-3, 6-3, not really facing that much trouble. So she moves on fairly comfortably in her match. Now, in the men's draw, one of our stories, Novak Djokovic, he goes through, again, pretty handily with it, not facing really much trouble against Albot, 6-2, 6-2, 6-4. So that's got to be very good in his mindset going into this next round against Jiri, who went 5 sets. So we have a very quick match going against a very long match. We'll see what that's going to be looking like with his opponent, because Djokovic went on, went off. So you have someone fresh and fit, someone really making the paces on that tennis court. Carlos Alcaraz, he had an interesting match. He won it in 4 sets, but did face a little bit of trouble with his opponent, but does end up making it through after a second set loss. So it was 6-2, 4-6, 6-3, 6-1. Not kind of what he wants to see in that first round match, but it is, again, just the first round. So playing into that tournament, we got to see where he's at. He faces Van de Zandschulp, beating Shapovalov in that first round match. So that'll be an interesting match to see. Now, the one player on the men's side that all eyes have been focused on, Jannik Sinner. How was he going to perform in his first round match with all of this media coverage on him about this doping scandal? How is that going to affect his mindset going into the U.S. Open? That was one of the biggest questions people were posing. How is he going to handle this situation? And in the beginning of his match against Mackenzie McDonald, it looked like it was very much on his mind with it. Losing 2-6 in that first set, Mackenzie McDonald performing very strong, but Sinner making some very uncharacteristic errors in that first set. And it did seem that McDonald was going to be making headway in that match, but Sinner was able to regroup, finishing off in 3 more straight sets, winning it in 4, 2-6, 6-2, 6-1. So we're very interested to see where his mindset is at, how that match is going to play a factor into his following one. Now that he has faced that first round match, with his mindset, where he's at, how is he going to adjust and continue to pull up on good form? He faces Mickelson in that second round, so all eyes are still going to be on him in this U.S. Open draw. So that was the first round preview or review. Sorry on the mix up of words, but yeah, that was a first round review, and we're interested to see what goes on in that second round. So thanks for listening. You have a nice day.